What is up, guys? Welcome back to the video. Today's video, man, I got the gameplay of the boss fight here on the end of the campaign for Borderlands 4, the Timekeeper. Now, obviously, I am 100% the campaign, but I'm not finished the game, which is why I'm making this video now, because I think what I'm going to go going forward, is pretty much saving gameplay of all the boss fights that I'm going to be playing, because I'm going to be playing these boss fights a lot going forward. And uploading them to showcase each boss fight in the game. I don't know how I'm going to do it quite yet. Maybe I'll just do all the encore thing and just play with other people so you can get the guys' fights over quick. But that way I can still show them, so it's not, 40 minutes of me fighting the boss, because that takes me a little while sometimes. And I'm probably going to upload some other stuff, probably going over everywhere I find, like the vault fights as well, going over some weapons, etc. But I'm not totally sure how I want to do it yet, because there's just so much in this game. But there's a lot in this game that's just really not video worthy content, if that makes any sense. Like, there's a lot of the stuff in this game where it's like, the missions and that are kind of just whatever. There's nothing really insane. So I don't know, going forward, what I'll do, I'll probably be focusing more on just gameplay in the background for videos. Is probably what I'll use this game for. It's nothing like Delta Force where I can, do class it-ups or whatever. And it's a little different than that in this game, because there's no, class it-ups that are not complicated anyway. But I wanted to go over a little bit of my experience with the campaign and my feelings on it, and I have some interesting takes. So, right off the bat, I think the game is fantastic. I really enjoyed the campaign. I feel like the story, in my opinion, felt a lot more drier compared to the third game. I know a lot of people think the third game is ass. I don't think so. I actually preferred Borderlands 3. I thought the way of telling a story was much more interesting. It felt much bigger. That game, I think, was nearly double the size in terms of story missions. And that game actually felt like you progressively got better throughout the game's story. In the sense that, like, in that game, you had a lot more legendaries, but that meant that every boss fight felt like you were getting something good out of it. There's a lot of boss fights in this game that I felt like I wasn't getting legendaries from. A good portion of my legendaries are from playing Encore with other players. I had a few legendaries given by other players when I joined their lobbies. A lot of my other legendaries that I got were from either pre-order bonuses or from Moxie's tip jar. I got a bunch of legendaries from her. So I just feel like the boss fights didn't really give a high enough quality gear for the stress that they were, especially Timekeeper. The Timekeeper took me about 10 or so attempts before I was able to finally beat him, because solo was nearly impossible. That's why you see me playing with someone else. I had to find someone to run it with, because solo, my build was just not it. I wasn't doing side missions. I was literally just doing story missions, and just doing story missions, I was not anywhere near strong enough to take him out in a reasonable amount of time. So, I definitely think 3 had a better system than that. Borderlands 3 just felt like they really wanted you to feel like you were progressing in power level. This game, you kind of feel like the same power level the entire time. You don't really feel like you're progressing all that much, simply for the fear of fact that they always make enemies 2 or 3 to 4 levels higher than you at all times. And there's even some parts in the campaign towards the end where I was literally so far behind in levels that the enemies had caution triangles. They didn't even have a rank. They were that far ahead of me in levels, and they were almost one-shotting me, and these were little grunt soldiers, so I had to literally run away from them. I had to literally go around them just to progress through the campaign, and I think that's a serious problem. I understand why they did it, to encourage people to just to learn all the augments and stuff, and that's fine, but you need to be able to either have a system in place that you can get augments quicker, and have a better way explaining how augments work. Because even though I've watched people explain how augments work, I still don't feel like using the different types of augments and ammo types really all that matter, because some bosses feel like you can shoot kinetic and they should be weak to corrosive, but the kinetic will do more damage than corrosive. So it's very confusing, and I don't like how they have it set up. I think that was a big problem for me in the campaign. It made me rage a lot. I mean, Timekeeper boss fight made me punch shit. Like, I was so angry throughout this boss fight, because he would do so much damage to him, and then all of a sudden you felt like you were doing no damage, and then he would hit you, and you feel like he does no damage to you, and then like the last second of the boss fight, this second half, you see that third bar, the red bar, I would get him down to the end of that bar, so he would nearly be dead, and then he would randomly just one-shot me from no reason at all, and I feel like those things like that are extremely frustrating as a player, and I know some people are experiencing the same issues, but I know a vast majority aren't. And I know a lot of people are running, I think his name is Rafa, whatever his name is, with the shoulder cannons. I chose to go with the Siren. I feel like the Siren just seemed like the more legitimate, story-wise driven character in the game, especially since we meet another Siren and we get Lilith back. So we had 3 Sirens. I think it just made sense to have to be a Siren in lore-wise. Now, I will say this. The other thing that I am kind of not a fan of is the fact that they made that the XP just seems to be weird, where you are encouraged not to do side missions while the story is going on, and so you feel like you don't really have a reason to you don't really feel like you're having a chance to level up to fight the bosses. Like, for example, most of the missions were like 3 or 4 missions, then boss fight for the main story. And you weren't getting a lot of XP for those. So you were kind of, I mean, I was 20, you can see here in this video, 28, 29 when I beat the boss fight. So, and I'm only 31 now. So, and I've beaten him now for a few hours, and I've been playing the game, and I've beaten several bosses with Encore. So I definitely think they need to figure out the XP system. I don't feel like, and the only reason I'm waiting is because of the new system, the level system, the Spectrum, I think it is, whatever, centralization thing, which requires XP, and those XP doesn't carry forward. So if you do all the missions, you don't get any XP for that afterwards. So you have to wait until after the story to keep all the side missions so that you can actually level up quickly, which is something I'm probably going to work on here in the future. But yeah, it's just, I don't know, it's a very odd decision making on their part. Overall, other than that, everything else seemed pretty chill in my opinion. I enjoyed like the overall missions. The boss fights were sick as fuck. I really enjoyed, especially this one. As much as this one frustrated me, this is such a sick boss fight, such a dope boss fight. I definitely think some boss fights are weaker than others. For example, I felt like the last boss fight of the entire story, which was against RJ, just kind of felt blah. Essentially, after this, it just felt very, very blah. I would have much rather have seen his boss fight before, and I think this would have been a better one to end off on, my personal opinion, but that's just my idea on it. That's just my take. Weapons so far seem really good, although I'm really mad the fact that this game has no idea what an assault rifle is every assault rifle they've had in this game that I've had that's actually decent is a semi-automatic rifle, and that's not an assault rifle. Assault rifles usually are usually full auto weapons, or usually have an option for full auto. These guns do not. So it's very rare that I've actually see full auto rifles that are actually really, really good. I do have a semi-auto one currently, but that has a function to hold down the trigger. You can charge up a full auto burst, and that gun's very, very good as a legendary. I think it's like 2,600 damage or whatever a second, so it's very, very, very good, but it just sucks that there's no full auto rifles. And in my playthrough right now, currently, I haven't actually seen too many legendary pistols, snipers, and SMGs. I mostly have right now, my kit is legendary ARs and legendary shotguns. So I'm not sure what that's totally about, although I will say shotguns are very, very good in this game compared to 3. 3 felt like they were lackluster, except for that one shotgun that was like a double barrel 2-shot that you can make a 4-shot. That was pretty good. Sorry. But other than that, I really haven't seen any other types of weapons for legendaries, which I think is very odd. And I'm hoping that I will see some going forward, but it's unclear whether or not I will. But yeah, overall, my thoughts on the campaign is pretty solid. I think it's a pretty solid campaign overall. I don't regret buying the game. I just wish that they would make some quality of life changes, in my personal opinion. I probably, after seeing how this game played, I don't think I'll be going for another character anytime soon. Maybe after the DLC or right before a DLC drops, I might come back if I have the game already 100%ed and do another playthrough just to like refreshen up on my gameplay skills. But I don't think I would do it right away, because that's initially what I was thinking about doing as soon as I beat the campaign, was switching to another character like Rafa and working on him. But I don't think I'm going to do that now. I think I'm just going to stick with her, and I'm really just going to build her kit to an insane level. I don't know how DLCs will work. I don't know if they're going to let us bring over our characters with everything as it is, or if they're going to do something where I think how Borderlands 3 was, where if you start a character in the DLC, it's like a separate character that can then, once the campaign's beat, you can share the stuff in between the two. So I have no idea how that's going to go and work in the future, but we'll have to wait and see going forward. I'm interested to see who Marcus is. I know I watched a lot of the lore for these games, but I don't actually remember who Marcus is, so I'm very interested to see who that is going forward. He seems to be like this god writer, story writer type of person in the storyline, which is pretty cool. I'm hoping to get into depth with the collectibles and stuff. I know there's some collectible bobbleheads. There's like 200 on the map. Randy said that they're going to be like impossible to find some of them, so I'm very interested to see over the next couple of weeks if we get some videos out finding all them. So yeah, otherwise, great game. I would give this so far. So far in my experience, I won't give it a official score till I hit Plat Trophy, but I will say I would give it at least I'll give it an 8 out of 10. It has some places for improvements, but it's very, very good in the grand scheme of things. And I highly recommend grabbing it if you can. I know it's kind of expensive, but I think for the amount of content in the game, I think it's worth the price compared to some other games, in my personal opinion. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. And if you guys want to see more Borderlands content, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.